going to call the regularly scheduled meeting of the Orion Township Zoning Board of Appeals to order. Please call the roll.
Dan Durham.
Here.
Don Walker.
Here.
Mike Flood.
Here.
Tony Cook.
Here.
Diane Danaskis here. A quorum is present.
Thank you. Next, we have the minutes from our meeting on the 9th of June. Anybody have any thoughts or concerns?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the June 9th, 2025 ZBA regular meeting minutes as presented.
I'll support. We have a meeting on, or excuse me, a motion on the floor by Mr. Flood, supported by myself. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes. And move on to agenda review and approval. Tonight we have two cases. And before we open those up, are there any thoughts or concerns by the board or a motion to open?
Mr. Chair, I move to accept the agenda as presented.
Thank you.
Support.
Motion on the floor with support. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, we're off and running. First case is AB 2025-22, Christian Grozov at 1150 South Baldwin, Sidwell 09-18-200-015. Petitioner is seeking 4 variances from zoning ordinance 78, zoned SF, Article 27, Section 27.02A4. Number 1, a variance to allow a pole barn to extend past the leading edge of the principal structure in the front yard. Article 27, Section 27.02A8. Number 2 is a 1,105 square foot variance above the allowed maximum floor area of all detached accessory buildings of 1,400 square feet to build a 1,500 square foot pole barn in addition to an existing 320 square foot shipping container and an existing 685 square foot of solar panels for a total of 2,505 square feet. And number 3 is a 1,268 square foot variance above the allowed maximum floor area of all accessory buildings of 1,900 square feet to build a 1,500 square foot pole barn in addition to an existing 663 square foot attached garage, an existing 320 square foot shipping container, and an existing 685 square foot of solar panels, for a total of 3,168 square feet. And number 4 is Article 27, Section 27.17B, a 5-foot wetland setback variance from the required 25 feet for a pole barn to be built 20 foot from a wetland area, the creek. Do we have a petitioner? Come on up. Make sure the light is on your microphone when you get here, and introduce yourself, please.
Hello, my name is Christian Grozov, and this is my first time at a meeting like this, so I don't really know exactly what.
It's our first time too, so don't worry.
We're in trouble.
All right.
We'll just probably have some questions that
Okay.
are strange to you, but just answer them to the best of your ability. Everybody will be great. Tell us what you'd like to do, please.
Well, I would like to build a barn of some sort on my property. I have 10 acres. The house sits in the middle of the 10 acres. You can't see it from the street at all, and you would not even be able to see the pole barn from the street at all either once I build it. But I have 4 kids. Oldest is 12, the youngest is 8, and I don't know, we just got bikes and all kinds of stuff. And I do have the solar panels, and I've been parking my lawnmower and stuff underneath that, but last year I parked my lawnmower, a brand new one, and the mice just ate all the wiring, and it cost me over $3,000 to get all the new wire harnessed. And then this year, in the beginning of summer, I went to take it out, they did the exact same thing. They just completely chewed up the whole engine. So I need something else to store our lawnmowers, the kids' bikes, and now, in the future, we're gonna have more cars, since I do have 4 kids. So I just don't have place, and I like to work on cars too, and I like to build stuff out of wood here and there. So
You work on cars for yourself?
yeah, oh yeah, Yeah, I like to do my own brakes and change my oil when I can and stuff like that. Yeah. Or someday I'll think picking up a hobby, buy an old truck and maybe fixing it or something like that.
Have a place to wrench on it without it being in the way of other stuff.
Correct.
One thing on your application that I was a little bit confused about, there was something about, and clarify for me, it said that the construction on Baldwin Road caused water on your property that had not been there before?
Correct. So we've lived there, what, 7, 8 years? And when they were almost done with the roundabout, I mean, it wasn't even open yet, we came home on vacation from Florida, and my whole front yard was flooded completely. And I have a gravel driveway, because like I said, my driveway is very long, and it was washing away that creek that the city put on the property right before I bought the property, and I have all the paperwork from the previous owner. But they opened up some culverts that went from the north side of Clarkston that go north and south on Clarkston. Well, those were clogged, so they unclogged them when they did the roundabout, and I believe they added one more. I mean, I have kids, we walk around a lot. Friendship Park is kitty corner for me, so we go there a lot. So I know my area around me, I know my neighbors. So now whenever it rains, all the water from the north of Clarkston on the other side comes under Clarkston and comes on that corner property. The plaza on the corner, all that water drains into that drainage pipe to the right of it, to the south of it, which also goes to a culvert that comes underneath on that property. When it rains, like the other day, we had that crazy rain, when I was leaving the house, there was like gushing water coming north on Baldwin from the rain, because the way it goes, the tree goes, and it all was going to that culvert. So anytime we get any amount of rain now, that creek gets full completely and it overfills. I'm not as bad as my neighbor. I mean, she goes in the yard and picks fish off her lawn now every time it rains. Like, I've seen pictures, I've seen her go around and collect little fish and every time it rains. So when the construction was going on, I came and I told them, look, this is going on right now, you guys can come look. And they said, well, it's road commission's fault. They're the ones that, whatever. So then I went, they told me who to go talk to, and I went and I found some people, and they said, well, no, that has to do with engineering or something like that in Lake Orion. And I'm like, okay. So then we came back over here, and they're like, no, it's the road commission. So I was just getting tossed back and forth, and I didn't know who to talk to. So.
Thank you. Board members.
And I add one more thing. But 2-3 years ago, like I said, my front yard never flooded until this point. And that creek that the city put on, or somebody put on right before I bought the house, about 3-4 years ago, I noticed that it was kind of caving in and it wasn't really looking very good shape. So I hired a company. They came out with a small excavator and dug that down another 2 feet. So, because when I bought the property, the front of my property wasn't a wetland. I didn't have any like cattails. It wasn't anything like that. Now I'm guessing about 1.5 acres to 2 acres on the front of my property. I can't even walk on it now, which when I bought it, it wasn't like that. But because of all that water now, and also they built that new house right on the corner. And when they built that house, they built a basement. They didn't dig a hole for the basement. They dug a basement, and then they brought a tons load of semi-trucks and just filled it with, and they raised the whole property by 4 or 5 feet. Front yard, backyard, all around and everything. So now before, the water was draining there. Now it has nowhere to go, so it goes on my neighbors and then onto my property. I think that's it.
Sorry to hear that for your sake. Thank you.
Mr. Goodlow, do you have any information on all of this stuff?
I was just looking at it. Looks like there is a wetland in the front. Maybe a culvert down the road.
Well, there's, on Baldwin? Well, there is one that goes from that subdivision across the street from me. I'm guessing some pumps or whatever dump into a little pond, and then there's a retention pond, and then it dumps onto mine. But those are always full. I think the main problem was when they did the roundabout, they cleaned those culverts that go under Clarkston. I think those were the two, and they're big now. Before you couldn't see them, because we, like I said, I used to walk to Friendship Park all the time. We never noticed them. Now you cannot miss them, period. And there's 3 of them now. It's huge. So all that subdivision, the nice subdivision on the other side of north of Clovers, Carston. So all that rain, or there's sump pumps, is being dumped onto wherever, and it's all coming underneath Carston, coming on that corner lot, coming onto my neighbors, and then the only avenue is my property via that creek that the city put in. And then to the north of my, no, to the south of my property, also was, there was like grass. I can't even get there at all to walk or cut the grass anymore. It's all wet. All down alongside my house.
Quite a bit of low areas on your property.
I'm sorry?
Quite a bit of low wetland areas.
Yes.
On your property.
Yes. Because they were asking at one point, why do I want to put the barn where I want to put it? Why don't I put it on the other side? I can't now. It's all wet, which it wasn't before. I used to cut the grass, but now, actually, I even brought in a lot of 1x3 crushed concrete on the south side of my house just so I could be able to take my truck in the backyard every now and then, because I would get stuck with my pickup truck. I don't know what to do. I'm a little, besides getting a lawyer, but I don't know. I'm kind of, I have 10 acres, but I can only use so much of it now.
Is it your feeling that these requests you're making are gonna help you with the water also?
No, that was just another thing that, I brought up to the city before. My request right now is I just wanted to build a barn
Right.
so I could have a place to put my kids' toys, the lawnmower, and other stuff, And I figured right now we're okay financially. As the kids get older, they're gonna require more money, so I don't know if I'll have enough money
You
to.
think when your kids get older, their stuff costs more? You sure?
Cars, insurance, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to afford a barn when they get older.
We'll take notice of that, we will.
They go to a private school right now, and that's pretty pricey.
So it's your feeling that what you want to do is not going to affect any of the neighbors?
Nope.
It will not negatively impact you either. It will help you.
Yes, sir.
The fire marshal is on board. He's seen your request. He has no issue with it. We have that in the record. Mr. Cook?
Sir, just in reference to the solar panels, are they active or?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, yes. I don't have an electric bill. About 2-3 months out of the year, I only have like maybe January, December, February, we have an electric bill. The rest of the time, that takes care of that.
Gotcha. So you've dispelled with all the myths that you can't do it effectively in Michigan, huh?
Well, we've had them now for 5-6 years. I had a company come in and put them in, so far they've been okay.
Okay.
It was a little pricey for them. That was my fault for not doing my homework, but they.
Do you have battery storage also?
No, I do not.
Okay,
I couldn't justify spending 20 grand on batteries.
gotcha. And then my secondary question is without great detail, with the shipping container, tell me about it.
I just needed extra storage, and it was delivered very cheap. They delivered it for like $2,300, I think.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's nice because I could close it. And mice don't get there or nothing. It's just very
Right.
tight.
Well, that's what next question for you is why not put the lawnmower in there?
Well, it's only 8 feet wide, and we have shelves, and I have Christmas trees and Christmas lights, and that's where we store all of our outside furniture that we have on our decks and stuff. We put it in there in the winter and close it all up, so mice don't get to it. Any of the cushions and just things like that we keep in there.
Okay, and then the
Like,
last
don't
part
have
is
to-
your current attached garage, I'm gonna guess your car doesn't get to go in, right?
Not right now, it doesn't.
It does?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, I was gonna
My
say,
wife's or
lucky
mine,
you.
no, we don't. Like I
Well,
said,
neither car.
I like to work on there, but I have a table saw, I have a planer, I have a few things in there.
Okay, okay. Are you like on the way to homesteading in a sense? Or is it just?
What do you mean?
If you don't know, then the answer is no, okay? Okay.
I don't know.
No, where it's being very rustic, being off the grid.
Oh, no. I like to build things out of wood, like I'll, build a swing or build stuff for my kids or
Gotcha.
flower pots for my wife. Or
Okay. And you talked a little earlier about working on cars, and so these are for pay, or these are for?
No, for me. So like I had a pickup truck that I just sold because I couldn't fix it anymore, it was too rusty, but I kept working on it outside in the driveway, or, you know, I tried to clean my garage and get it in there, but it was hard because it was a big F-250, 8-foot long, it barely fit in the garage. But no, I'm not a mechanic, I don't know how to do all that stuff, but my dad, I grew up, my dad fixed cars for a living and sold them, so that's the way I grew up, and he kind of forced me to do it, so I don't really like to do it now.
Will come in
I
handy.
do it for myself.
All right.
For the family.
Yes, sir. This happens a lot. You have 10 acres there.
Yes, sir.
You fall under the 2.5 acres criteria for your square footage. It's always been a concern of mine, is that, but that's the way the ordinance is, so. But to me, that's part of a practical difficulty too, falling into, when you have that big of acreage.
You mean about building something on 10 acres, or I don't understand?
Yes, yeah, because you had to get a variance, because the variance is anything 2.5 acres.
Yes, and that's what I was saying when I first came here. I could understand these rules being for somebody that lives at the street right on Baldwin, or have, you know, but I have 10 acres and nobody sees my house or my barn or my solar, nobody sees them. So,
And you do tell Mr. Cook that this is for commercial venue, this is for your own private.
no, it's strictly for it strictly is for me. It's not for commercial by any means, no.
Also, I want to say, beautiful family over there, so,
Thank you.
which has no bearing on the case. Except for all the stuff they want to put in there.
Yeah, we were at
People have it.
Everybody's looking at me.
You're writing everything all down.
Mr. Chair, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Mr. Naskis, please do.
In the matter of ZBA Case AB 2025-22, Christian, is it Grozoff?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. 1150 South Baldwin, Sidwell number 09-18200-015. I move that the petitioner's request for four variances from the zoning ordinance 78, zoned SF, Article 27, Section 27.02A4, 1, a variance to allow a pole barn to extend past the leading edge of the principal structure in the front yard. Article 27, Section 27.02A8, 2, a 1,105 square foot variance above the allowed maximum floor of all detached accessory buildings of 1,400 square feet to build a 1,500 square foot pole barn in addition to an existing 320 square foot shipping container and existing 685 square foot solar panels for a total of 2,505 square feet. 3, a 1,268 square foot variance above the allowed maximum floor area of all accessory buildings of 1,900 square feet to build a 1,500 square foot pole barn in addition to an existing 663 square foot attached garage and existing 320 square foot shipping container and an existing 685 square foot of solar panels for a total of 3,168 square feet. Article 27.17B, a 5-foot wetland setback variance from the required 25 feet for a pole barn to be 20 feet from a wetland creek, be granted for the application date stamped received May 22, 2025, because the petitioner did demonstrate that the following standards for variances have been met in this case and that they set forth facts that show that in this case, the petitioner does show the following practical difficulty due to the unique characteristics of the property and not related to general conditions in the area of the property. This particular property is low and has wetlands, which have increased since the construction of a roundabout near the property. This impacts the placement of the requested pole barn. It also is necessary for the storage of vehicles and other equipment on the property. They have suffered critter damage and other damage to their equipment because it is not protected by an enclosed building. The following are exceptional circumstances or conditions applicable to the property that do not apply to other properties in the same district or zone. Once again, the construction of the roundabout, the change in the culverts, and the stream that flows through the property has caused the wetlands to increase. The petitioner sought solutions through the Drain Commission, but no solutions have been offered. And therefore, this restricts the amount and area of the property where this can be built. The variance is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a substantial property right possessed by other properties in the same zone or vicinity. And that, again, would be that they need to store their equipment. They have a lot of equipment due to the size of their property and the need to maintain it, and the size of their family and number of people who need to have places to store equipment. And therefore, I believe that they should be granted this variance.
We have a motion on the floor with support, but before we call for a vote, once again, I have neglected, do we have anyone that can come on up? This gentleman behind us has the right, and I was supposed to have asked him for comment before now. So Mr. Flood had to remind me.
So my name is Matt Carroll. I guess I represent the HOA unofficially that is behind his property. A couple of things. So first off, just kind of my opening statement. There's a reason that we have a threshold in terms of exterior property that is allowed to be built. Right now, there are multiple homes that back up into, I've actually never met you, I'm sorry, this gentleman's property, and we have to look at that every single day. So we see the solar field, we see the shipping container, the garage, all that stuff. We would prefer, and I've talked to our neighbors about this, we would prefer to not have to see an additional pole barn that, based on, I 100% agree with his assessment that he is impacted by wetlands or lower areas. And because of that, where the location is going to be, it's going to be right near kind of our property line. Multiple houses are going to have to see that. Two, we've had a handful over the last probably half dozen years interactions with our HOA and this gentleman in terms of dumping, let's say, debris, trees, stuff like that on HOA property when those items were being built, one. Two, there's been calls to the non-emergency police line about noise complaints, operating heavy equipment, loud equipment, late hours of the evening, asking them to tone it down. Additionally, there's a rooster that crows all the time. So we do have concerns that an additional structure with the capability of doing, craftsmanship or working on cars, all that stuff, is going to exacerbate the situation. So that is the concerns that we have, and that's why we're asking that to not do this. And then finally, we do have environmental impact concerns because it does impact multiple houses. The wetland area where it would flow, it backs up into probably a half dozen houses in our HOA alone. So we do have concerns about that as well.
How far, ballpark, would this structure that the gentleman would like to build be from the closest property?
From the closest property, probably 100 yards, to be my guess.
What's,
One directly behind your house.
what is the type of terrain, if I can ask? Is it woods?
Yeah, it's wooded right now. There is a swamp back there, or an actual swamp that's fed by an underground stream, aquifer, whatever the proper terminology is. You have three houses that are two main houses that back up to this gentleman's property. Then you have another one, mine, which is behind the swamp, and then there's another two that are kind of kitty corner to that as well. There's one that is approached from directly to the south, and then there's one a little bit tucked away a little bit further.
Why we're looking and not talking is we have an overlay on the computer here that we're looking at. No, not directly. We'll let you speak to us again. You get another chance when his 3 minutes are up.
I can point if it's easier with like a laser pointer or anything wherever indicating here.
Well, you see where the
Yeah.
arrow is?
Yep. Yeah, so the individual, the 3636, that property right there, and 36, my eyes aren't that good, is that 42 or, yeah, that one as well. Yeah, that one backs up directly to this gentleman's property line, the debris and everything like that that's been pushed over there. I know the HOA has had to talk to him about it. I'm a little bit further south, and then if you continue to go south, there's a couple additional houses. The stream or the creek that was referenced, it flows right behind, right where the cursor is. That's kind of where the beginning of it. There's a whole swampland there, and that creek flows all the way down until, I think it's the state park property or the county park property. So there's at least another half dozen houses that potentially would be impacted by this.
Impacted as in able to see it.
With just the wetlands. I mean, so I don't know what would happen potentially if those have to be dried up, diverted, or impacted by any stretch of the imagination. I know multiple houses would definitely see a pole barn. And I do have concerns about, property values and all that stuff. I mean, probably would get another half dozen houses in here asking for exemptions if they have to, look at another structure when they move to this area to be in a secluded spot with wooded, just looking woods, and they got us.
Let me interrupt you briefly, Mr. Goodlow. That is in no way any type of regulated wetlands?
Township regulated, not Eagle regulated.
Okay. Do you see anything in the township regulation for wetlands that would be a problem based on what the gentleman is asking to do?
If he needed to do any work in the wetland, he would require a permit from the planning commission or trustees. It does look like there's significantly wet area in the front and in the rear. The middle portion seems to be the highest. I was looking at the elevations on it.
So the property, sir, that you're talking about would be primarily on the south side of this gentleman's property?
Yeah, yes, the HOA that backs up all of us are on the south side, yes.
Okay. Board members, do we have anything for this HOA rep while he's up here? All right, you're going to hang out a few minutes? All right, why don't we turn the mic back over to the applicant? So, talk to us.
Just a little shocked that anybody would see my barn from there. You can't see any house around. In the winter, like real winter, you could kind of see the houses behind me to the south of me. But other than that, those are all woods. That satellite picture was taken in the fall. But like right now, I can't see none of those houses at all.
All right, let me slow you down for just a bit and then I'll be quiet. No disrespect to you, equally no disrespect to the HOA, but when a change is requested, it is very common for HOA challenges to be put out. So don't take this personally. It kind of goes with the territory.
Okay.
So you were telling me before I interrupted you that you were just not expecting this. Have you heard from, now there was some concern that you've heard from the HOA before on various things?
I have never heard from the HOA. God in heaven is my witness. I have never heard anybody complain to me about noise. I have a a backhoe, an excavator, because my driveway is very long and it's gravel, and the only thing I ever used it for was to clear the driveway when the potholes get too big. But to use it for excavating, or I've never have. Or I've never heard from them. Like, no one's ever approached me and said, your rooster's too loud, or you're making too much noise, or,
Police, you ever hear from them? They ever come down?
no, sir, not once. This is all news to me, and my wife's right there, she could testify to this. My neighbor to the northeast, Patrick, he's got a big pole barn and he works on cars. He has a hobby, not to buy and sell, but he works on them, and I hear him till good 10, 11 at night. But that's what he does, you know, it's his hobby. He doesn't do it for, but I don't see how they would hear him way over there. I don't work on cars, or I don't have heavy machinery or compressors, or, so I don't know what that's about. That's news to me too.
Okay, now, for the board member's point of order, since I got out of line again and didn't go for public comment, should I offer the opportunity to withdraw the motion and/or the support that was given? Well, if somebody would like to make a motion in that direction, we can go that way, and I apologize, there was no excuse for missing that the way I did. Board members, what do you think? Mr. Walker?
I think so, and is it appropriate to talk to the representative of the HOA again, too?
I think so. Why don't we clear the decks
Let's close
first?
it there. I'll move that,
Would you like me to
You already
withdraw
got a
since
motion
it's
on the
mine?
floor.
well, I'm gonna move to take it off the floor.
Well,
There's a technicality, there's a parliamentarian thing here.
please.
Once you got a motion on the floor, what you want to do is deny the motion, and then you can just start over again.
Does denying the motion deny the requests?
Technically, yes.
Then would he have to come back?
No, then you have to come up with another motion of some sort. If you want to. Just go ahead and let's just go ahead and, we're probably going to hear about this from Lynn and Danny. But,
But you have to deny it. She has to withdraw it. That's how it has to go.
Dave's got a thing there.
To me, you know, you have a motion on the floor. Yeah, you've heard some HOA complaints, but that has nothing to do with what the case deals with, which is the property. I don't understand why neighbors' opinions still will deal when we talk about a property practical difficulty. Obviously, you can kind of see that there's only one area to put this thing. Now, it's in the high area, obviously, right? I think you can't really put it in the backyard, so there's practical difficulty. If that's what you see, obviously, the motion maker saw that. To me, you know, I think you go on the merit of what? The property. I understand that neighbors and everything come into play, but we have to stick with the uniqueness of the property. And the motion maker kind of outlined that.
And to follow up on Mr. Goodlow's statement there, we have dealt with various civil instances before between neighbors and things like that, and we had to kind of separate that out of the practical difficulty, what he's saying.
I understand. Well, I'm asking for guidance. I created this mess, and I'm asking the board to help me figure the best way out of it.
Just my opinion, but
Please.
we did hear the testimony. We haven't voted on the motion yet. If anybody's opinion has changed because of further information that they received, they could voice that in their vote. As the motion maker, my comments refer to the land and the reason there's a practical difficulty. And so
That's an excellent point.
in my opinion, it doesn't change the content of my motion.
So if folks are unhappy, they can vote no,
That would be my thought.
based on information that we should have had one step in front, but we do have now, before the vote was taken.
Sure.
All right, sir, would you come back up one more time from the HOA?
Yeah, we're not going to haul you off to jail, don't worry. You indicated there've been complaints from,
Yeah, based on the
Okay.
conversations that I've had with multiple neighbors.
and did you ever have a conversation with the petitioner?
Me directly, no.
Do you know offhand whether or not the other members of the HOA have talked to the petitioner?
I am like 100% certainty, yes. In terms of the debris, because I know that either the HOA president had made a comment about it, because if you look behind right on the property lines, there are huge piles of trees and debris and all that stuff, and that was on HOA property, and we had to ask him to push it back. And that was what has been communicated to me.
Okay, thank you. I have no other questions.
I have a question for Mr. Goodlow. Because you're in charge of the building department and code enforcement, have you had any enforcement on this property?
No, the only enforcement we had was a drainage complaint by the petitioner, which was closed in 7/18 of 24. That was the only complaint. I have no other enforcement.
Unless you have something else for us, sir, I think we're good.
Nope, okay.
Thank you. Ms. Cook?
Mr. Gorzov, right? Your last name?
Rozov.
Rozov.
Just pronounce every letter.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
European.
The southern part of your home to property line is roughly how many feet or yards?
From my house to it's about 130, 120. And I know that because when I built that sunroom, when I pulled the permits and I remember, because I have a specific tree, from that tree to the property line to the rebar we found was 100 feet. And then we had another 30 feet or 40 to the house.
And are you having any considerations on putting in any greenery at all? Shrubs, arborvitae, any type of screening at all?
Sir, that's all green. You can't see through it.
Okay.
And all of that, when we bought the house 8 years ago, it was grass, but now it's all wet. Like, now I can't, and the trees outgrew it and everything. So I'm actually a little bit very confused about what he's saying, because nobody's asked me.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yeah.
Mr. Flood?
Following on Mr. Cook's, I'm looking at our planning and zoning department's criteria sheet here, and the front yard setback, the side yard setbacks, and the rear yard setbacks are all met. There's no variance required for that, and there's no height variance either. The barn's not going to be any higher than the house.
Nope.
Which would be a concern of mine if you know, for the surrounding neighbors, but it meets all the criteria.
Do we have anything additional by the board? So we have a motion on the floor by Mrs. Danaskis and a support by Mr. Cook. Any further discussion before we call for a vote? Nothing? Ms. Flood? No further discussion
no.
on the motion?
No. No.
Based on seeing no further discussion, please call the roll.
Tony Cook?
Yes.
Diane Danaskis, yes. Don Walker?
Yes,
Mike Flood?
Yes.
Dan Durham?
Yes, congratulations, you're on your way. Do us, me in particular, a favor, keep the peace with your neighbors. And if you can lean a little further one way or another and maybe make one of them happy, do what you can.
But I never knew there was an issue.
Okay, I'm just asking you that personally. Your variances are approved. Thank you. Next up, AB 2025-23, Joyology David Shaman at 4898 Bald Mountain Road, Sidwell 09-35-477-003. Section 7, non-residential zoned areas. No. Petitioner is seeking one variance from signed ordinance 153, zoned IP. Section 7, non-residential zoned areas, EMC ground signs. Number 1, a 22.4 square foot ground sign EMC area variance above the allowed 30%, 9.6 square feet, for a total sign area of 32 square feet. For the ground sign, EMC area to be 32 square feet. Sounded a little awkward, maybe I missed something. 22, nope, that's what you're looking for. You have variant, or a petitioner. Come on up.
Hello, my name is David Shaman, representing Joyology, and I have Christine here with me. She works with the sign company that's handling our monument sign, if approved. Basically, we're looking for a bigger message board reader. A lot of times when customers drive to us coming from the east side, driving west, they have a hard time seeing our building because of the Ajax plant that's over there and trees kind of growing on the right side. We are on a corner in an industrial area, so we have 3 different roads that corner us and 2 entrances to our building, but we're only asking for 1 electronic message reader that we can put on the southwest corner of our property line.
How long has your business been open there?
About 2.5 years, I want to say.
Been in for sign variances before?
I think we might have got maybe 1 extra sign a long time ago, a building sign in the beginning.
Any particular reason why you're waiting 3 years in to come back?
Cost a lot to build the sign. They're expensive. We have multiple locations, and we kind of get going with our building signs first, and then we figure out if we're allowed pole signs or monument signs. We usually add those on maybe a year or 2 years later, once, we start recouping costs.
Thank
Build
you,
the
Board.
business up.
I'm sorry, board members.
Yeah, I'm almost positive, I'm getting old, but I think there was a prior variance on the sign that we gave you some years ago, I believe.
I think we submitted an application, but we never really moved forward with it. Just the cost was too much, and we couldn't do it at first, and I wasn't really involved in that one too much, so I wasn't sure what happened with it.
Mr. Goodlow, are you able to access any records there?
Pulling it up right now.
Thank you. Mr. Cook?
Sir, what's the banner sign that you have up there currently? That's what some of this discussion was about before. What's the plan for that?
I don't think we have any banners on the building. There's a board sign, a pole sign, that's gonna get removed, and that's where the monument sign would go, the new message reader.
Let's speak in the microphone, please.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Christine.
The banners that are on the picture is from Google, so it's not current. So those banners aren't on the building anymore, correct? Yes.
Yeah, there is no banners on the building.
They're on the retaining wall?
I see on the old picture over here,
Yeah.
yeah. We only have 2 channel lettering signs. One which is on the west side of the building and one which is on the south side.
So there's no banners,
No banners, no, this is a really old picture.
so you.
This
you
was before we
down-
had any signage at all. This is like back in
I know, I understand that, but is there a banner on that retaining wall?
No, nothing on the retaining wall.
No banner on the buildings, no banner on the retaining wall.
No banner on retaining wall, no. There was a projector that was on the retaining wall. That was it, but we've never had, and you see the pink post sign right there, that would be getting removed, and that's where the monument sign would be set.
When's the last time you've been to the building?
Today?
Today? Okay, all right.
Yeah, there's no banners anywhere.
As I recall, that's what we were discussed before, there was,
Right.
Mr. Goodlow, you have something?
Yeah, there was a approved variance for an additional wall sign. They're allowed 1, they came in, they got an additional wall sign. It was approved in '23.
Because of sight distance from 24, right, and then they took.
As I recall, it was because the traffic from the east and the west couldn't see everything, and you wanted another one on the other side.
Yeah, it would just be a little bit more eye-catching when you're, so this is kind of flipped over, but when you're heading, on Dutton, going towards the Culvers, Ajax is right across from us, and, you know, they got their tree lines and shrubs, so a lot of people end up passing us and pulling into Culver's or pulling into the plaza and turning around and then coming back to see us.
I remember getting lost looking for you for that first sign. I couldn't figure out how to get to where you were.
And we do have two entrances. We just want one on the southwest corner. Not looking for anything off of Premier Drive.
And as I see no public, I'm going to assume we have no public comment.
Don't you assume that.
Someone might be hiding.
Mr. Chairman, I see in our packet here, there's a letter from the sign company here to the Planning and Zoning Department. It was received May 22nd, 2025. I'll read it. Dear Sir or Madam, this letter serves as a written certification from the sign manufacturer, Sign Emporium, Inc., that the light intensity has been factory programmed not to exceed the above listed light levels, and that the intensity level is protected from in-user manipulation by password-protected software that is satisfactory to the township.
Thank you.
Sincerely, Kaya, Sign Emporium, Inc. Just want to read
So
that.
just because we're going bigger, it's not gonna be brighter, you know, affecting traffic or anything like that. And there is multiple businesses that do have bigger signs over the 30% in the township.
Fire department is on board with being fine with your request also.
That is a difficult, we've had that discussion before, they come down that hill and zip you right by that place.
The only question I have is, are you not of the opinion that everybody, well, everybody's always a bad word, most people that would be in the market for your, what you sell there, don't know that you're there by now? Signs are to drag in new people, not the ones that already know where you are.
So we get about average 600 customers a day, and maybe about 100 to 150 of those are still new customers.
Okay?
Pretty good percentage, yeah, it's almost 20%.
Anything additional by the board? I don't have anything.
Reviewing their application here for the 10th time. That location's right on the corner of that IP district right there. Right there by Ajax. It's Auburn Hills across the street, and that's all commercial venue there. There's no residential around it, which I
None.
glad to see. Looking at that 32 square feet, that'd be like the size of a piece of plywood, 4 by 8, technically.
And obviously, we're not allowed to advertise any products on there, so no pictures of product or anything like that would be on there. It's mainly just wording and promoting our events that we have.
Yeah, you have to comply with our sign ordinance on.
Of course.
On EMC, so.
Right.
I only speak for myself as a one voting member, but I gotta tell you, I'm wondering if after 3.5 years in business and we're still coming back for adjustments, I'm wondering if this is ever gonna stop completely.
I would like 2 more signs on the building as well, but I'm not gonna bother you guys about it if you give me
Oh.
this.
As we speak to land issues, I just wonder when enough is enough. And again, that's just rolling through my own personal head, and that doesn't speak for anybody else up here.
Yeah, I mean, we've been there for 2.5 years, and we've only asked for one other sign other than this one, which, you know, this is not a building sign, it's just another, it's a monument sign, just something that will catch customers' eyes and know that we're there.
You still have those big lights up on the west side of the building, right? They don't say
There's some
anything,
lights still
they're
on the
just
building.
Like green or something?
Yes. They were all over the building, but now it's just on the top portion of it, so it's not covering the building completely. Those have been off for a long time now.
They were red and green for a long time. Every time I went by there, I had the feeling it was going to be Christmas.
And, yeah, it's Christmas every day there.
Yeah.
But no, those are all down, the fence lights are down, all the Christmas stuff are down.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Walker?
in order, I don't want to go out there because it's hot, but in order to move this along, I'm prepared to make a motion. In the matter of ZBA case AB 202523, Joyology, David Shaman, 4898 Bald Mountain Road, 0935477003. I move that the petitioner's request for one variance from the sign ordinance number 153, zoned IP, section 7, non-residential zoned areas, EMC ground signs, 1, a 22.4 square foot ground sign, EMC area variance above the allowed 30%, 9.6 square feet of total sign area, 32 square feet, for the ground sign EMC area to be 32 square feet, be granted for the application date stamped May 22nd, 2025, because the petitioner did demonstrate that the following standards for variances have been met in this case, and that they set forth in which, in this case, the petitioner shows the following practical difficulty. It's due to the characteristics of the property. It's in a very difficult place to find, as I indicated earlier, I had trouble finding it the first time I went there. Granting this variance will not materially be detrimental to the public welfare or materially injurious to the property or to improvements in such a zone, losing my voice, or district in which the property is located based upon the following findings. It is in zoned IP, it's away from the residential area, and therefore I would ask that the board grant the petitioner's request.
I will support, provided that you include this in the motion, like a list of any conditions, that removal of all temporary banners, signs, panels advertising the business that have not been cleared through the township.
I'll amend my motion.
We have a motion on the floor by Mr. Walker, support by Mr. Cook. Anything additional by the board?
One comment, I'm glad to see you're putting the address on your,
Yeah, so that's taking up, you know, the 2 feet on the bottom. So we're not doing the whole board. We're, you know, you're still gonna have the address on the bottom as well.
that GPS, that helps a lot when you see that address on
does.
there.
Right.
That's it.
Okay, we have motion with support. Nothing additional from the board. Please call the roll.
Mike Flood,
Yes.
Don Walker,
Yes.
Tony Cook,
No.
Diane Danaskus, yes. Dan Durham.
No. Motion passes. You're good to go.
Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Public comment, we're out of public. Communications, education, anything?
Nope.
Committee reports. Comments? I'll make one. I apologize to the board for making yet again an easily avoidable
Stop
mistake.
it, you did not, no.
And thank you very much for bringing it up, because it would have circled back for sure. And it should have.
No, we cleaned it up, it's fine.
Well, there's no excuse, and that's on me. That's just something I need to get straight.
We're all human, Dan.
Thank you.
Except for me.
No additional comments. Motion to, Mr. Flood,
Move to adjourn.
let's do it. Motion, support, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? None, we're done.